Hey guys, it's Troy. Wanted to share with you some pen mail. Here are some of my most recent acquisitions. Three of these actually were mail. One was I picked up in person at a pen show in DC. So this is a Sheaffer Balance from the 1930s that I had picked up, and I do know it needs a new ink sac. I already checked that out. It's you get some resistance and it's a little crunchy, so it's a lever filler. I kind of knew that when I first bought it, that it was going to need some maintenance. It's from the 1930s. It probably has the original sac on it. It's got the Sheaffer white dot there, and it's got the lifetime nib on it. You probably can't see it well here, but I do have a close-up camera that I'll be able to take a few pictures of that. The nib was actually seemingly in decent shape that I could tell, and I'm going to have to pull this apart. You can see I've already got it started, but I'm going to pull this apart and check out the how everything looks on the inside as far as the sac and replace that. I may even do a video on how to replace an ink sac using this particular pen. We'll see how that goes. I already tried recording one previously, but it is kind of a nice pretty brown, and not much on brown, but it actually looked better in person, I thought, than it did what I saw online. So 1930s Sheaffer Balance. We'll see how that goes when I get this thing restored. So that's number one. Number two that I got shortly thereafter, I actually ordered them the same day, is kind of a cool pen from a once great organization. I used to be a leader. I was a Cub Scout myself, and went through a lot of leadership training, and this is an official Cub Scout fountain pen. And it looked to be in really good shape. Yeah, it's got some scuffing. I expect that. It's from the 1950s. And it's got that nice gold trim. You got the blue and gold, which are the colors, the official colors of Cub Scouts. We used to have blue and gold banquets to celebrate the anniversary of Scouting. And this one actually has a hard time lining up perfectly. You got to get it just right in order for this and the logo to line up perfectly with the clip. But I did ink this one up, and I have been trying to use it some. There is just a slight problem with the nib. It's got a very fine, or very smooth, very smooth brand nib, which to me meant a lot, because very smooth nibs tend to be exactly what the name implies. And this one has a typical medium nib. And when I looked at it under a loupe, tipping on one side is a lot bigger than the tipping on the other side, and that does present a few issues for writing with it. You got to hold it at the perfect angle, and I may work on that some, or I may just leave it for a while and just keep it as a novelty. But 1950s, real pretty pen, the official Boy Scouts of America Cub Scout organization fountain pen lever filler from the 50s. So I thought, if nothing else, that was worth having on my collection, considering my attachment that I have had to that organization, being both a Cub Scout and a leader during my lifetime. Alright, here is some more pen mail that arrived just today, a Waterman CF. I've already got like 4 of these. My son Matthew has one. I think maybe this is my 5th one. And I've given some away to some folks, but from the 1960s, Waterman came up with the Waterman CF, which stands for cartridge filler, and some are nicer than others. This is not one of the upper end ones, but it's got a pretty green. I didn't have one in green, so I figured I'd go ahead and get it, and the price was right. So if you can get a Waterman CF for $20 to $40, that's not a bad deal, especially if you get everything matching. Matthew's that he got given to him at the Raleigh Pen Show was kind of a Franken pen. I've bought one before where the threads on that section meets the barrel threads are all stripped out, so that doesn't work real well. But I figured, why not get another CF? So it's got a steel nib to it. It's a fine nib. It doesn't write the smoothest in the world on this particular one, but it still writes acceptably, and I just got it today, so I haven't done any work on it. I haven't really done anything to it other than to fill it up and make sure that it writes. So it's got the long grip section, or right there. That section is actually comfortable if you like slender pens. I'm not much on slender pens, but I do like the CF. One of the things I like about the CF is this. This is the cartridge that Waterman uses, and I've got a bunch of them. This one came with an empty flushed out cartridge, and I got it from Spear Bob. I bought a lot of stuff from Bob, so I went ahead and felt comfortable with buying this from him. It was at the right price, and I've inked this one up already with some Mont Blanc Irish Green, only because of the green barrel. I do kind of for the most part, I like to match the ink together with the color of the pen itself, and it does write fairly well. So, you know, just a hair on the scratchy side, but still not bad. I mean, it's definitely not the worst writing pen that I've seen from Waterman, and I do like the CF models. They're reliable, and they write first time every time. The only thing is on these cartridges, the only thing that you got to be careful of, ink does evaporate out of these fairly easily, especially if you've got it pierced. I've got ink cartridges from the 60s laying around that have not been pierced, and they do still evaporate even through the plastic, through osmosis, I guess. But if you've got it pierced and in a pen, that ink will evaporate after a while, but it still lasts a good while, and they're reliable. So I do like those. So for about $21 or so, $22, somewhere in there, I think is what I picked this up for, including shipping. Not such a bad deal. Now, my new pride and joy that I'm going to share with you is one that I have put together in the video for the DC Pen Show review. I shared that with you, and it's this one right here. This is a Waterman 55. And so the Waterman 55 production run was from like 1917 through 1934, somewhere in there. So that tells you the date for this particular pen, and it's got a number 5 Waterman nib, hence 55, and it actually is a little more rigid. You may not be able to see it well here, but it does say manifold nib on it. This particular nib is stiff, and it is a little more rigid, so it's not flexible, which is why I bought it, quite honestly, because I've seen a bunch of flex nibs. I do like Waterman flexible nibs. You know, antique Watermans are excellent. They're known for their quality, and probably, in my opinion, some of the best made fountain pens at the turn of the 20th century. So anyway, this is what I picked up, and I was told that this the gold top is something that's not common. That typically you'll see the red ripple and a flat top. So this may be a little more rare than that, which is, I'm fine with that. And with the manifold rigid nib, and you got the nice little spoon on the lever, and it writes very, very well. It's very reliable. I've had it inked up since I got it, fits comfortably in the hand, and I have been using this pen since I got it, and just about every day. So I have other pens that I've been trying to squeak in for pen of the day, but I keep reaching for this one this week because I just love it so. Pretty good condition, and that's the latest pen mail, latest pen acquisitions. I actually have a few more on the way. I'll tell you about those when I get them, but that's it for today. Thanks for watching.